What's up, guys? Carlo Macapinlac here from newbiefitnessacademy.com. I help busy professionals reach their fat loss goals so they can feel more confident, be ready for any situation, and get the most out of their lives. And in this video, I'm going to answer a very common question that I get asked all the time. Why is it so hard for me to lose weight? I'm going to give you a hint. It's not your fault. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every time I post a new video every week. All right, let's dive in. Okay, how many times have you heard someone tell you this cookie cutter advice that if you want to lose weight, just eat less and move more? Your doctor probably told you that, and it should work, right? Not so fast. Now, one of the most unfair things that we do to people is that we tell them that it's their fault why they can't lose weight. We say things like, oh, they've let themselves go. They just don't take care of themselves and they must have no willpower, as if the weight problems that they're suffering from is their fault. A common thing that I hear from my private coaching clients when I first meet with them because they're in so much pain and they're not getting results is this statement: what am I doing wrong? And what it really comes down to is that we believe in this calories in versus calories out model, right? And almost everyone I know, including their dog, has tried to lose weight using that principle. And therefore, since we're in control of the calories in and calories out, if you don't lose weight from it, then it's somehow your fault. That is, the person who is suffering from the disease of obesity, for example, is at fault for causing that disease, and the evidence to support this really doesn't exist. It's almost never worked for anyone for a sustainable amount of time. Now, raise your hand if you have a hard time losing weight, despite following the dietary guidelines that your doctor or some nutritional expert told you to follow. But you actually followed them, but you didn't get results and you felt like a complete failure. Now, the standard belief in the diet community is that you have emotional issues and you just don't care about your health. And if you only cared a little bit, you'd eat less and move more. It's so simple. You must have no willpower at all. Sound familiar? So let's talk about the obesity epidemic that's happening right now, because that's what it really comes down to. An epidemic that happened in the US around 38 years ago. Americans were actually never this fat, and there's a reason for this. So if you look at the studies, prevalence of obesity increased significantly among adult men and women between 1980 to 2000. And 1980 is an important year that we'll get to in a second here. Now, here are some scary numbers. The overweight percentages of the overall US population has steadily climbed since 1980, reaching 39% in 1997, 44% in 2004, 56% in 2007, and 63% in 2008. In 2010, the CDC reported even higher numbers, counting 65.7% of American adults as overweight and 17% of American children. Children, are you starting to see a pattern here? And according to the CDC, 63% of teenage girls become overweight by age 11. They estimated that 3/4 of the American population will likely be overweight or obese by 2020. Now, I mentioned earlier that 1980 was an important year, so let's talk about that real quick. That is the year when the USDA started publishing dietary guidelines for Americans. Here's the first one. And this should give you an idea about everything that's wrong with today's modern American diet. They told us to eat a variety of foods, maintain ideal weight, avoid too much fat, saturated fat, and cholesterol. And if you're still in the dark about this, eating saturated fat and cholesterol is not bad for you. You need cholesterol for your hormones. Your body makes it, and eating fat won't make you fat, contrary to popular belief. That's like one of the biggest nutrition myths of all time. Nonetheless, this is what we've been led to believe for decades, and it's based on very weak science at best. I'm going to put a link to one of my videos somewhere at the top here if you want to know more about this. I'm also going to put some links in the description box. Going back to the guideline, it says eat foods with adequate starch and fiber. Avoid too much sugar, avoid too much sodium, meaning salt. And this is another myth because you need salt in your body. You'll die without it. And lastly, if you drink alcohol, do so in moderation. They also said that if you limit your fat intake, you should also increase your calories from carbs to supply your body's energy needs. How many of you keep a jug of low-fat skim milk in your fridge that you use for your cereal? The major health hazard from eating sugar, according to the guideline, is tooth decay. Tooth decay. It literally says right there. Contrary to widespread popular opinion, too much sugar does not seem to cause diabetes. That is insane! This is giving me a headache right now just reading this. This is how the US government started the discussion with Americans with their diet, and the rest of the world followed along. What happened since then is that obesity has steadily risen in the US. So if you think about it, in 2017, there are 325 million people in the US. 65% of them, or 211 million people, are either overweight or obese. Now, I'm from Canada, and the obesity numbers here aren't much better. As of 2017, research done by the Public Health Agency of Canada has reported that 64% of Canadian adults over the age of 18 are overweight or obese, almost the same as the US, and 60% of children aged 5 to 17 are suffering from weight problems. That's pretty scary. So, the American Dietary Guideline was established in 1980. We were told to follow it. Generally, everyone did. They cut back on saturated fat. They started eating more vegetable oils. They started eating more simple carbs. And now we have an obesity epidemic. Can we really blame people for not having the willpower to stick to their diets? Can you really blame yourself for having such a hard time losing weight? Now, let's say you have a classroom of about 100 students. And if one of those students fails, well, that's their fault. They didn't study. It happens all the time. But if all of a sudden you have about 65 students out of 100 failing, then you simply can't say that it's the student's fault. That's ridiculous. It's clearly the teacher's fault for not giving the right information. When it comes to diet and obesity, what we have are 65% of the students failing, and yet we turn around and blame those students. It makes no sense. And a lot of the research community and so-called experts, dietitians, and nutritionists still consider the first law of thermodynamics as the reason why people get fat. So let's talk about that. The first law of thermodynamics refers to a law of physics where energy cannot be created or destroyed in a closed system and is always true. However, in the complex world of human physiology, it's true but completely irrelevant. What the calories in versus calories out people think it means is that if you reduce calories in, you'll lose weight. Of course, it means nothing of the sort because the human body is way more complicated than that. And I think it's almost incomprehensibly naively simplistic to think about it that way. It's lazy and just wrong. But nonetheless, that's still how the majority of experts think about weight loss. So, who gets the blame here? Doctors? Dietitians? Food companies? Who? I think it's fair to say that we should blame the dietary guidelines and the advice that we give to people. This sort of low-fat, count your calories sort of advice. It simply hasn't worked. It's been 38 years of us trying to follow it, and all it's caused is an obesity epidemic. This calorie-centric model being if you want to lose weight, you should take in less calories and burn more through exercise. And this assumption has guided the USDA guidelines to tell us what we should and shouldn't be eating for decades. Are you starting to see the big picture here? It simply has not worked. So this is where the blame game comes in, right? Nutritional experts like the government, doctors, dietitians can either do two things. They can either say, well, the evidence is that our advice doesn't work. We're wrong, and the next time they admit they're wrong would be the first. Or they can simply say, well, it's not our fault. We're right, you're wrong. Even though 65% of people are failing, it's your fault. So they shift the blame from themselves to the general public. It's a game called blame the victim. And that's where a lot of people find themselves. You follow the guidelines, it didn't work, so you assume it's your fault. But this is completely out of your control. This is beyond any willpower issues that a lot of people struggle with on a day-to-day basis. It's simply not your fault. Okay, the next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I melted all the fat around my stomach and turned it into a six-pack without going on a crazy diet or wasting hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach all my private coaching clients, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. Alright, that's all I've got. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week. And hey, Leave me a comment below if you found this video helpful or if you have any questions about why it's so hard to lose weight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the comment section. Virtual high fat. And this is another myth. Oh my god. What the calories in versus calories out people think it means is that if you reduce... Oh my god. I need a break. And this is the... Oh, fuck.